Greetings, greetings. Happy Monday. Greetings, greetings. All right. Welcome. 6/29/26. The time is now 8:03 p.m. here on the East Coast. So no matter where you're tuning in from, thank you for joining. Mindset Mondays, 6/29/26. So welcome to Mindset Mondays, which is presented by Fresh Start Coaching LLC. I'm your host, Doc Fresh Love, aka Eddie D Love CPC. And this is a personal commitment. This is a journey focused on growth that we're all going through together. So all the viewers have been participating for the past few weeks, the past 3 weeks. So this is week 4. So this is a 7-week challenge that everyone's participating in via Facebook Live. And the theme of our 7-week challenge is breaking the poverty cycle. Breaking the poverty cycle. So I want to thank everyone who has joined up to this point thus far. Thank you for taking this ride with me and helping me accomplish one of my goals, which is to do a 7-week challenge via Facebook Live. So thank you for participating. If you're watching this replay later on, and the date is post 6/29/26, please engage with the comments. Please engage with the chat. Reach out to me via Messenger, email. All that information is available via my Linkfly. So if you go to my Linkfly on Facebook, there's a link to all of my contact info. Or just message me. Send me a direct message. Any questions, any comments, any subjects that you want to see discussed on Mindset Monday or even Freedom Friday, just reach out. And of course, interact with the chat as well. So welcome to the 7-week challenge. This is week 4. So the 7-week challenge is based on breaking the poverty cycle. Simply because we live in a time, we live in an era where inflation is taking hold of just about everything that we purchase. So gas is high, food is high, cost of education, cost of insurance, medical bills, all the necessities. Everything is up. So what are you doing? What are you doing to combat inflation? What are you doing to prepare for tomorrow, to prepare for the future? Or are you just hoping and praying, hoping that somebody comes and saves you, hoping that somebody throw your life raft, hoping that you win the lottery? I know one of my favorite shows is Lottery Dream House. I watch Lottery Dream House all the time, and I say, man, what if I scratch off one of them scratch offs for $5 and win a couple of million? You know, what would I do? So that's our question we want to open up with. So week 4, or I'll tell you our question that we want to open up with. So this is week 4. of the Breaking the Poverty Cycle Challenge. As I stated, it's a 7-week challenge. So week 4, the subject is, or the theme is, poverty is more than money. So poverty is more than money. So we know there's several different forms of poverty, which we are going to discuss. But my question to the chat, just to throw this out there before we get into the discussion. So the question to the chat today, if money wasn't an object, what would you be doing right now? So if money wasn't an object, what would you be doing right now? So our question for the chat today is, if money wasn't an object, what would you be doing right now? And while the people are chiming in, while the people are joining, just want to ask the question, how was your weekend? Hope everybody had a good weekend. Very busy weekend for myself. Attended a family reunion, had some good laughs and good conversations, good food, good vibes with the family. Very busy weekend, but fun. So what about you guys? Hope you had a good weekend. How was your day? Coming to you on Monday just to set your week, set your mode, set your mindset. That's one of the reasons for Mindset Monday, so that we can start our week off on a good note, on a positive note. So thank you for joining. So my question to the chat, if money wasn't an object, what would you be doing right now? So that's the question for the chat. So somebody chime in, somebody comment. If money wasn't an object, what would you be doing right now? So for me, I would probably be eating dinner in Italy somewhere. I might have flown to Venice just to eat dinner, come back, touch down in Charlotte, and get ready to start my day off. But I would have went somewhere just to eat, just to eat dinner, fly back. Like Jay-Z said, if you can touch down and take off the same night, you can change the weather. If you can change the weather in one day, that's how you know you're doing something. You can make some real moves. But if you had money to that extent, or if money wasn't an object, what would you be doing right now? Where would you go? Would you be in Cancun, Punta Cana, Ocho Rios? What would you be doing? All right. So that is the question. If money wasn't an object, what would you be doing right now? So poverty is more than money. So part of our discussion, as you chime in, I can come back to the comments and see the comments if somebody does answer that question. But we want to just talk a little bit about the different forms of poverty and how that can affect us. And as we talk further throughout our challenge, throughout the weeks, and on Friday, somebody said at the beach, Sister Ward, at the beach. What beach would you be at? So if money wasn't an object, she said she would be at the beach. Drinking a mojito, drinking a pina colada, with your feet up. Same here. I've been to a lot of nice beaches. I can't think of the nicest one, but it would probably be Punta Cana or Cancun. I've been to Punta Cana a few times, but Cancun was really, really nice. So what are some of the different forms of poverty? So you can have poverty of vision. And poverty of vision is the inability to imagine alternative futures, to set meaningful goals. And that's what we've been talking about the past couple of weeks. We've been talking about goals. We've been talking about systems, because last week we took it a little bit further from goals and we went on to systems, because we need to be able to put some things in place that are going to sustain that thing that we're trying to accomplish, right? So we want to put some behaviors in place and some habits in place that are going to sustain some of those goals that we have set, because we want to keep some of those things going and build. So some people do have poverty of vision. They can't set goals. And that's why part of what I do with my coaching business, I work with clients on their goals, short-term goals, intermediate goals, and long-term goals, which we have been discussing throughout the 7-week challenge. So some people have poverty of vision, poverty of relationships. There's a lot of us that suffer from poverty of relationships. They say you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with, that you hang around. Who are you around? Is it toxic relationships? Sometimes we're beholden to those toxic relationships because they're friends from childhood. They're family members. It's your first cousin. It's the ones that used to play in the sandbox with you, but they call you with the dirt every day. They call you with the scoop, and you entertain that negativity. No matter what you got going on, you can be having a great day, but somebody can call you with some drama that they're experiencing. And you want to be a good friend. You want to listen. You want to be that shoulder to cry on, but sometimes you got to protect your peace. You got to protect your peace because it can definitely lead to poverty mentally for you. So don't let other people send ants to your picnic. So get you some mentors. You got to get some mentors. Got to get you a positive network. Who are the people that you are around on a regular basis? Do they raise the vibration when you're around them? Or do they drain you? Do you get a little sad? There's some people when they walk in the room, everybody put their head down. Oh, Lord, here comes such and such. If you don't know anybody like that, you might be that person. Get you some mentors. You got to sit at the feet. Who are you sitting at the feet of and learning from? People with virtuous qualities, moral standards, values, not just finances, not just somebody who went and got the bag, but who are the individuals that you are learning from, people that have set a certain standard on how to go about life, how to go about business, how to go about family, how to go about praising God. Who are the people that you're being mentored by? Are you mentoring anybody? Sometimes that'll help you step your game up. When you're a mentor and you know people watching you, you tend to do better. You tend to walk straighter. If I know somebody watching me walking in a straight line, if I'm on stage and I'm modeling, walking that catwalk, I'm going to turn it on just because I know the audience is watching. But if I'm walking by myself, I might stump my toe, trip a couple times. I'm not as focused. So relationships are important. Poverty of relationships. Poverty of knowledge. Poverty of knowledge. You can have poverty of knowledge. Now we're talking about, for the people just chiming in, we're talking about different forms of poverty. Because it's not just finances. It's not just money that we're talking about. Poverty of knowledge. Lack of information. Lack of exposure. See, one of the differences that I've learned about different upbringings, right? Because when you're bringing your kids up in a certain type of environment, coming from an environment where I came from, where it was a certain type of income that was, right there at that poverty threshold, to where now being considered technically middle class by society standards. The things that we expose our kids to during the summertime can be a pivotal factor in how they turn out in life. When you don't have money, your kids sit at home in the summer and they try and find something to do. You tell them, go outside. However, when you're in a certain type of environment and you can financially afford it, you're sending your kids to summer camp to learn art, to learn theater, to learn dance, kayaking, hiking, swimming, boating, coding, all these different things. So what happens a lot of times is, depending on the environment that we're coming from, we're giving our kids a basketball, saying go outside and play basketball until you get tired. Whereas in certain other environments, they're preparing their kids and giving them knowledge. They're sending them to these certain camps so they can learn different skill sets that later on in life it's going to help them when you talk about IQ and EQ, emotional intelligence, or IQ, the intelligence quotient. These are the things that prepare those kids. So we're talking about poverty of knowledge. Some of us haven't read a book since we left high school, since we left college, or Job Corps, or DeVry, or wherever you went. Some of us do not read. They say if you want to hide something from certain people, you hide it in the book. I wonder who those certain people they're talking about. We're not reading. We're not studying. Just because you have a degree or just because you have a certification, are you doing continuing education? Are you going to those classes? Because guess what? The successful people, the top earners, the people in that top 1%, that top 10%, they're investing in themselves. They're learning. They're growing. They're studying. They're getting better. They're reading something. Right now, where I'm sitting in this office, my office, I got books all around me. I can grab a book. Every chance I get, I'm storing something else. I'm putting something else in there. So what are you reading? What are you studying? Are you going back to school? Are you going to get certifications? I talked earlier in our challenge about one of the recent certifications that I got was an AI automation certification from UNC Charlotte. Just to learn AI, to help me in my current role, my current position in IT as an IT manager, but to also help me gear up for the future, to help me gear up for the next position or the next company I start, to learn those skill sets. Because what's happening? What do we see happening? We see technological advancements replacing people, eliminating jobs. Companies are downsizing. So if you're not continuing to learn and continuing to grow, they don't care about that bachelor's you got in 1993, in 76, 2001. Since you got your certification, you got to keep going. It's 2026. Things are changing fast, and you got to stay up with it. That's what this 7-week challenge is about. Is about impacting your mindset. So poverty of knowledge is a real thing. So what are you reading? What are you studying? Power of discipline. Power of discipline. I'm sorry, poverty. I'm talking about power because I'm getting charged up over here. But poverty. We're talking about poverty. Poverty of discipline. Inconsistent. Somebody just said, just had that conversation today. So it let me know we on the right thing, right? That's God. As they say, look at God. It's on your heart, it's on your spirit, it's on your mind because breakthroughs are happening. See, right now I'm in a very, very uncomfortable position in life. And not uncomfortable because I feel bad or I want a pity party. I'm in an uncomfortable position because I know something more is coming. Something greater is coming. Something's on the horizon. Because uncomfortable, what I've learned about being uncomfortable is uncomfortable means growth. We talked about this in one of our Mindset Mondays. When you're uncomfortable, you are growing. If you're too comfortable, you stagnate. I'm not stretching myself. I'm not stretching those muscles, right? Mental muscles. So poverty of discipline is real. So you can be inconsistent in your actions. Despite having good intentions. You're not doing the right thing. You saying it. We know you want it. But your actions not matching what you're saying and what you're putting out. So what are your daily habits? That's why we've been talking about systems. We had to go further from goals and start talking about systems. And we're going to come back to that, daily habits. We're going to talk a little bit more about daily habits as well. So the last one that I want to mention for this discussion is poverty of purpose. A lot of people have poverty of purpose. No clear direction or mission. I have people come to me all the time and say, Eddie, can you talk to my son? I've had people come to me and say, can you talk to my husband? Can you talk to my brother? My nephew? My wife? Some people don't know why they're here. This life thing, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of books you can go to. You know, you got the Bible and you got all the different stories and different things that you can go to, but there's no book on how this thing's supposed to go, how to do life the right way. Because any book is subjective, right? That's their perspective. That's their experience based on what they know and what they've gathered, the data, the studies. It's always subjective. But there's no book on how to do life. And a lot of people are out here just going through it and going with the flow, especially young people. And that's one of the main reasons why I don't just mentor young people. I don't just mentor kids. And it's not even about me. I'm just sharing for you. But I talk to young people and I talk to adults because so many people lack purpose. They don't know what they want to do. It's go with the flow. You ask them how they feel about something, they're going to say, I don't care. It don't matter. And those are the individuals that are always under the circumstances. Those are the people that should be on this live. Should be blowing this live up. The people that's under the circumstances. But if you're on top of your circumstances, if you're proactive, if you're investing in yourself, continuing education, going to therapy, going to coaching, going back to school, mentoring, volunteering, giving back. So many of us with that have poverty mindsets, we have this take mentality. Give me, give me, give me. What's in it for me? What type of deposits are you putting out there? Because karma is real. I think some people play with that concept or play with that notion or don't believe it's real. What you put out in the universe comes back. It comes back. Whether good or bad, you know, like they say, garbage in, garbage out. So if you putting good stuff in, good stuff gonna come out. So the whole concept and what we were just talking about right there was the different forms of poverty. Poverty is not just money. If you're gonna get to the bag, you gotta till the soil. Before you plant them good seeds, you got to get that ground ready. Got to get that ground ready. Before we put them seeds in and start watering. And that's what we're doing. Because if you just constantly take in everything that society's giving you, just like social media, for example, after you scroll past me on this live, talking all this positive stuff, there's going to be something negative. There's going to be something else that's going to happen. There's something else you're going to see. It may be funny, may piss you off a little bit. It may be offensive. That's how these algorithms go. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to program your algorithm. Poverty mindset is horrible. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don, thank you for joining. So, part of what we're going to be talking about, and I'll recap on Friday. We're going to get into it a little bit on Friday as well. But tonight, just to give you some insight on one of the books that I read a couple times, actually. It's a book called Atomic Habits. If you read Atomic Habits, type in the chat, give a thumbs up, say yes, or say no if you haven't. But Atomic Habits, it's a book by James Clear. And what this book does is it helps us go from the goals to the systems, helps us start to establish those systems. So what I did is I pulled out 3 concepts for our discussion tonight, and then we'll come back and review and talk about these on Friday. But according to James Clear in Atomic Habits, 3 things that he pulled out, the 3 layers of behavioral change. 3 layers of behavioral change. Number 1 is identity. Number 2 is processes. Number 3 is outcomes. So what we're talking about with identity is what you believe. And when you think about where we started with this 7-week challenge, we started talking about personality styles, learning styles, the first 10 years of your life. how your mindset is shaped, childhood trauma, and how that plays out later on in life. That's where we started. Who are you? The person. Because if we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, we hear people talk about emotional intelligence all the time, but emotional intelligence is two parts. It's self-awareness and social awareness. So understanding who I am, where I come from, what's my background, what am I feeling, right? What emotion am I identifying right now that's taking place? Self-awareness. And then social awareness. The space, the environment that I'm walking into. Am I at school? Am I at work? Am I at church? And to be able to pinpoint and identify the other person's emotions, the emotions that you're observing externally. And now shaping, how do I interact with that person? That's emotional intelligence. You hear people talking about emotional intelligence, and I see these dating shows, they're talking about love languages and all that. Like you got to really get into it, because now we look in the mirror, and then we're dealing with the external factors in the social environment. But identity, that's the first one that James Clear deals with in Atomic Habits when we talk about the 3 layers of behavioral change, because we're trying to create habits. We're trying to create systems. So identity, what you believe, where you from, who are your parents, what are your values. Processes. Second one is processes. So what you do? This is the action part of it. So what are your processes? What do you do? You want to be a good person? What do you do to be a good person? Or if you want to be a better person, what are the behaviors that you're doing right now that you need to improve on? We got to identify that first. How am I waking up every day? How am I going to bat? How do I start my day? Am I doing something negative? Am I feeding into negativity? You know? How do I start my day each day? What are my daily habits? What are your processes? How do you love? How do you love people? How do you deal with conflict? How do you give feedback? How do you receive feedback? Do you actively listen? Or do you listen to respond? Or are you the mind reader? Or the placater? That's just saying, okay, I agree with you, just so you can shut up. What's your processes? So we open it up. We going to open this thing up. We at week 4, man. I got to open this thing up right now. This is that climax point. So the last one that Clear deals with is outcomes, what you get. So what you believe, what you do, what you get. Now we're dealing with the prize. Now we're dealing with the outcomes. And like I said before, garbage in, garbage out. If I'm putting in good-ish, I'm going to say something. And my mama might be watching this live. Hey, Mom, if you're watching. What are you putting in there? So what do you believe? What do you do? And what do you get? So we're going to break that out a little bit more. And just to give you a little bit more sauce on that. So when we talk about layer 1, changing your outcomes, that's the outermost layer. And that's things like, if you're trying to change your results, losing weight, winning a championship, publishing a book. What are you trying to do? So changing outcomes, you're trying to change the results. And that's where most people set goals around. Most people set goals around the outcomes, right? They want a certain outcome. However, are you thinking about what you're going to do to get to that point? Are you thinking about who you are? Are you still hurting? Are you healed? Are you healed? Are you healed enough to even deal with the goal or the thing you're trying to accomplish? We're talking about identity now, right? So changing your processes. So a little bit more sauce on that. So that's our habits. That's our systems. So if you want a new workout routine, you want to clean the house, declutter your garage, start meditating. What type of habits you're going to do? And then level 3, changing your identity. So that's the deepest layer right there. Because now with that one, changing your identity, you're dealing with your self-image. And that's what this challenge is about. Helping you reform your self-image. How you feel when you look in the mirror. Confidence. I'm going to say something funny. I'm going to point something out. I got a big old pimple on my head right there. Look like a unicorn. The old me, I would have never went live. I would have put on a cap and tried to cover it up. But guess what? This version right here, that don't matter. I'm cool. Because I'm not what you see in the mirror. The physical version of me that you see, this is not Eddie. Eddie is here. Eddie is here. Who you're experiencing on this live. That's me. That ain't this big old bump on my head. You don't care nothing about that. It's going to go away. It's going to be gone. But psychologically, these are the things that we let stop us. My money ain't right. My hair ain't done. No, that's poverty mindset. You are not your flaws. That's what my brother said in the comments. Shout out to Prince Kerbing. You are not your flaws. So if you don't remember anything else I said tonight, you are not what you see in the mirror. You're here. You're here. Who people love, who people think about, who people miss, who people want to spend time with. They don't care about that unicorn horn. They just want to see me. All right, so we're going to keep it moving. So the mindset message that I have for you tonight, and we'll come in and review on Friday for Freedom Fridays, but the mindset message today comes from my second book. So my second book, Let's Talk About Love. So Let's Talk About Love, the blog book, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Borders. Contact me. I get your autographed copy. That's going to be worth a lot of money in 20 years. But the concept that I want to discuss tonight is chapter 9 from Let's Talk About Love, the blog book. And that chapter is titled Grocery Shopping on an Empty Stomach. So you already know where I'm going with this. Grocery shopping on an empty stomach. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. While you're thinking about that, not being true, authentic self, letting that stop progressing. Absolutely, Don. Get the book. It's amazing. Thank you. Shout out to my sister, Sister Lloyd. Corks and Keys podcast. Check out Corks and Keys podcast. That's my people. So, grocery shopping on an empty stomach. Think about what happens. If you go to the grocery store, this is why I tell people, you want to make sure you eat a snack. You want to make sure you eat lunch before you go to the grocery store. Because if not, you better have a lot of money. You better have some money in that bank account, right? Because if you go in the grocery store with your stomach growling, everything you see, you're going to pick up. Everything you see, you're going to want. Stuff that you don't even need. Stuff that you don't even eat. Oh, I'm going to try this. Oh, organic snack. Oh, I'm going to get some of these. Oh, I'm going to give me some of these. Some of those. I already talked about inflation. When you get to the cash register, that buggy full of stuff that normally would have cost you $150 is now going to be $300 when you get to the cash register. But you can't go grocery shopping on an empty stomach because you're going to get too many things that you don't want. It's almost like seeing a mirage. You remember how the old cartoons used to be when they would be in the desert and they just want some water and been traveling in the desert, and you start seeing these illusions and mirages that look like food and a table full of food or water. That's kind of what happens when you grocery shop on an empty stomach. So if we use that same concept for dating in this situation, that's what I was talking about, and let's talk about love. I was really telling you to work on your mindset, work on your mental, work on your spirit, work on your relationship with God, work on yourself, read some stuff, get in contact with your true essence of who you are and what you like. Fill yourself up. Eat. Before you go out and start dating and grocery shopping and on these dating sites, I missed that wave, right? Because I've been with my people 19 years, but I missed that wave of swipe left and swipe right. Y'all grocery shopping and your stomach ain't full. Guess what? You're going to get something you don't want. If you grocery shop when your stomach growling, you're going to get something you don't want because you're anxious. You're jumping the gun. You don't really want it. It's a mind trick. You reacting to the stomach growling. Got to get full. Then go shopping. Or you might not go shopping. You get full, you're going to sit at home. You ain't got to eat, right? Stay where you at. So that's the concept that I wanted to share with you from chapter 9. That's our mindset message. So breaking the poverty cycle isn't about changing your circumstances. It's about changing the story you tell yourselves about what's possible. That's what it's about. So until next time, until we meet again, I will see you soon. I'll see you on Friday. This has been another episode of Mindset Mondays with Doc Fresh Love, a.k.a. Eddie D. Love, CPC, author, speaker, life coach. Holla at me. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Peace.